Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of the Cart Barn Podcast. Chris Limley and Greg DeWalt, and we're glad to have you joining us this week. Real quick, if you're watching us on YouTube, we would appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe. That would be helpful to the channel. And Greg, we've got a great guest lined up this week. Will Wilcox. Will currently lives in Birmingham. He's from that area. He played at UAB, and then turned professional, and in 13 he finished 7th on the what's now the Korn Ferry Tour. Had a pretty successful career through 17 or 18 on the PGA Tour, and is probably most known for being a guy that made a hole-in-one on the Island Green at the 2014 Players Championship in Sawgrass.
Yeah, Will, and if you're not familiar with Will's story, the fact that he could make an ace on 17 at Sawgrass is something. He's got a tremendous story. I'm going to just leave it as a tease because it's not your traditional rise to fame story. And also, again, the fact that he's still around to talk about his journey through golf, and to now he's a caddy for Sungjae Im is amazing. So this is an hour that you're really going to want to spend listening to Will Wilcox.
Yeah, let's get into this week's episode with Will. Welcome back to the Cart Barn Podcast. Super excited to have today's guest, Will Wilcox from Birmingham, Alabama. Many of you probably know Will. He played on the tour for a period of time. He played at UAB, and he's spending his time out there on the tour caddying for Sungjae Im. Will, welcome to the Cart Barn.
Yeah, thanks. I like doing stuff like this that's golf centered and especially Alabama centered. So,
well, thank you. Thanks again.
No problemo.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into the game.
My mom ran a golf course in Pell City called Pine Harbor. It was on the lake, on Lake Logan Martin, and yeah, it was a good way to grow up. Mom, just riding to work with mom, and that definitely helped them not having to have like nannies or childcare or anything, because I just hung out with her out there. So, and I was just in the vicinity at least while she was giving lessons and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it was a great resource, and I just got really lucky that that's what just my childhood was. It was just riding to work with mom while she was the GM head professional at a golf course in Pell City.
That's pretty cool. And of course, lots of kids have that story. They go out to, their parents would drop them off at a golf course. You're out there, but you've got somebody who can, really dive into fundamentals with you, where you're getting a good structure. Were you like advanced really quickly because of that, or?
I would say so. I mean, I definitely learned good habits at an early age. The fundamentals, and just it was really just set up focused, and didn't get in the weeds too much with details. Like my mom, she's just a sweetheart, like as a person. So it was just a nice, calm, presence, and it really helped me kind of ease into the game. But yeah, I was a good junior player. Like, I never forget, one year I shoot like 54, 49, 48 in a tournament, and then 3-9 over in Greenville, Mississippi. And then the next year I shot, actually it was just 2 rounds. Yeah, I shot 49, 44. And then the next year I shot 37, 37. So from the age of 9 to 10, I got really a lot better. But I picked it up, but I started competition at 9.
That's so that's a lot of tournaments throughout your career.
Yeah.
Do you remember like the first trophy you won?
It was probably that one. I mean, I won the Birmingham City like junior thing at 10 years old. And so that was a big deal. I remember the paper coming out and taking a picture, because that was like social media back then. So
that's right.
The paper, and I'd be on Fox 6 or NBC 13 or whatever it was. Yeah, I remember it. I mean, I probably still have it somewhere. Maybe. I know I got some cool ones in my house now. I've got some neat like memorabilia stuff from my professional days and the Alabama Amateur. That's right there too.
Did
Yeah.
you play any other sports, or was it just golf
Pretty
24/7?
much just golf. I mean, I was a really small kid, so like didn't hit my growth spurt till college, and really didn't hit my growth spurt till 39. Honestly, like I'm finally filled out. When I was on tour, I was that big around, and now I'm 185 pounds. So when I was on tour, I was like. When I got my card, I was 137. Yeah, you can't play, a football at that size. So I was really lucky that my parents didn't sign that permission slip. Although I wanted to play. But yeah, that was a good thing being small because it kind of weeds you out of basketball, soccer. Well, no, I played soccer until I was like 12, but certainly no basketball or football. But I did like soccer, but that ended, and baseball, but that ended when I was in middle school.
What what is it about, or what was it back then about golf that, I mean, you really loved?
I was good at it. I loved the solitude. Which sounds weird, but I was, I'm an anxious person, so like being alone was more comfortable. That was it was just the perfect storm of, probably like OCD, not wanting to be in large crowds, and it was just kind of one of those things. But then I was also very good at it. But I was lucky to have a good group of kids that were out there. Like Pell City could never produce a good golfer anymore, but back then I had like a driving range out in the cow pasture with a Mr. Hardy. He let me come out there in the wee hours. It didn't matter when, because it was on the farm across the street from his house, so I could turn on this light and hit balls any hour of the night, and it was good range balls too. But now that's gone. Pine Harbor's gone. There's not an 18-hole course in St. Clair County, so
Hmm.
but yeah, it was just a great way to grow up.
You know, when you were on the tour, you were one of the leading ball strikers out there for a couple of years.
Yep.
Have you always been such a good ball striker?
Um,
Was that kind of
I
the strength of your game early, or was it something
Yeah.
else?
I mean, I hit it really, really short, but I gave it everything I had. So when I finally got a little bit taller, I remember when I was getting, my goal always was, or my excitement was revolved around getting to 5'8" for whatever reason. Just because I was such a small guy, and so once I hit a decent height, I was able to start hitting it a long ways. And just my lower body action, I keep it square for quite a while. So, I was definitely knocking down flags. But then on the tour, I found some crazy stuff that, it was mind boggling how well I hit it for about, it's really only about, well, I played great in 2013. I played great for spells of 2010, 11, 13, 14, 15, first half of 16, and then 18. And that was kind of my whole career. The $4 million, 5 million I made on the course was jammed into those like 4 years, I would say. Ball striking was definitely my thing.
Hmm.
Was that just because you were when you were growing up, you were just digging it out of the dirt all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely got something off up here. I would hit balls for hours and hours and hours and hours just because I love doing it. And I mean, I would hit balls in the rain and the cold, and my hands would be all bleeding. I had them all taped up. It was just a way to escape. I always had quite a bit of anxiety, and that was just a place where all that kind of melted away. Um, which I've actually finally got it like under control now. But at that age, you don't really realize what's going on. You just don't know why your heart's racing or why you feel, you know, um, bummed out, or it just made me happy. So I would hit balls for an amount of time that like normal people wouldn't. Just all day long. I love doing it.
Hmm.
How playing high school golf at Pell City? Did y'all have a decent team? Anybody else do anything in the game?
Not really. I mean, I didn't even play junior or senior year. They had some ridiculous program when I was in school called early dismissal. So we got out of school at 11 a.m. every day. I can't believe they would even do that. But they let us out of school. I went to school from like 7:30 in the morning to 11 a.m. And so junior and senior year, I got out every day at 11. And so the college golf or the high school golf, and I played in junior tournaments, like individual tournaments. So like I already had a scholarship, and then like, but it just didn't make any sense to play it. It was really unorganized, and you're playing against like Springville High School. I mean, I'll never forget it. One time I shot 7 under on 9 holes, and the kid that I played against shot like 62 on 9 holes. So, I'd win by 45 shots or whatever, and I was like, okay, that's enough. Um, so if I would have gone
Well,
to a Hoover or a Vestavia or something like that, that I could have gotten something out of high school golf, but it was just too unorganized in Pell City, I would say.
well,
Gotcha.
let's transition into college real quick. You went to
Yeah.
UAB.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
how was
Got into a lot of trouble. I mean, I got a DUI in Tuscaloosa a week after school started. So rough start. But I played in 4 of the first 5 tournaments and then was suspended from then out. I never played another tournament. So, I mean, it was cool. It was a lot. Living on my own and yeah, just a little wild child. Thank God I didn't hurt myself or anybody else. Yeah, UAB was very short lived. I was basically just there for a semester. And then a couple years off, and then ended up at Clayton State. That's where I played for almost 3 years.
Mhm.
How just how did you go sideways? I mean, what kind of led you down that path?
I mean, again, I think it has a lot to do with the anxiety. You're kind of self-medicating. I didn't know why I was doing it, but now that I'm older and I realize what was going on, I just had those kind of like those wanting to be numb kind of like thought process. I just that's just what we did in high school. We did it in junior high, high school, and then when you got to college, full scholarship. I had maybe a little bit more money in my pocket. It just got even worse. Having a car. But I realized now it was untreated anxiety and depression. So you don't know why you're acting like that at that age because I don't do that now. Like I don't have those behaviors at all. Like I don't have any interest in getting inebriated. But yeah, unfortunately, that's a big part of it, of the story. But it's nice to have come out on the other side. But
Absolutely.
um, yeah, but yeah, just as an 18-year-old, you just don't know why you're so like bummed out all the time. But it was the anxiety, and so when you got messed up that wasn't as bad. It was like a monkey going to water or a horse going to water or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's just what my brain told me to do because subconsciously I felt so much better when I was under the influence. So yeah, it was just every chance you got was either smoking pot or drinking or and like Xanax and pain medication. Those helped the most, obviously, because that's what Xanax and those things were prescribed for. So yeah, it just that was just what we did.
It seems strange to me because when you talk about golf, you talk about you know well educated, lots of times upper class, middle class
Yeah.
people that aren't involved in stuff like that.
hmm
So I mean, were your circle of friends or so-called friends just kind of enablers?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, it was a lot of poverty in Pell City. I just happened to have the only parent in town that ran a golf course. Um, yeah, I mean, that just Pell City's lower class, lower middle class and lower class. Like, So those kids, I mean, most of them, I haven't heard from any of them in 20 years. Not that I'd want to, because, God bless them. They're certainly not doing well in life. That was just what people did, and then college, and especially in the Southeast, has a very, party centric culture. So that was just even more. Once you start going to football games and you have more freedom, and just all those problems were exacerbated.
Hmm.
Did your parents have any inkling uh, about how bad it had gotten, or?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, but mom's a sweetheart and dad worked in Atlanta, and I was very good. I was very deceptive. I was very manipulative. I was just good at what I did. I really was. I did not get caught until I got caught. And when you get caught in any capacity when you're doing that type of stuff, it's going to be rough. So yeah, I got arrested 6 times in a 19-month period and spent some time in jail. And yeah, just you don't know why. Um, yeah, you just want it to stop. I certainly wasn't happy. You know what I mean? Like during no part of it was it like I was like mad at the authorities or my parents or my coaches or anything like that. It was a total nightmare. But yeah, so it's just it was a great learning experience, and just like I said, thank God nobody got hurt. I mean,
Hmm.
like that's all I could say. Yeah.
I think the fascinating part is that it continued when you were playing professionally, and you're
Yeah.
playing great golf. It
Yeah.
seems hard to fathom that you could play at that level and have that
Yeah.
addiction.
Yeah, I was just so much better than, the average dude. I just got really lucky. I mean, my mom, she was a great athlete. My dad was a great athlete. And I just came out where just my natural kind of like I just could put the club on the back of the ball in the center of the face. Like that's what it came down to. And Pine Harbor had these low trees, so I could hit it really, really low, and I could hit it. I could hit a high hook, a high slice, a high draw, a high fade, a mid high, all the. I had every single shot, so I could get it all the pins. I could play in really tough conditions. That's one thing about Alabama. Like we can play golf 12 months a year, but you're only getting about 6 or 7 months of good weather for golf.
Hmm.
You're not you're playing golf, but it ain't fun. But that's what's great about it. You really sharpen your skills when the weather's crappy, and the ground, our dormant Bermuda and soft muddy turf uh was a great thing to learn on. So then when you go to the tour and it's so teed up and sitting nice, or you're playing a gnarly Bermuda rough. I had been doing that since I was a kid, so yeah, I just had a man. I was just good. It's hard to even wrap my head around it at the time. Like I had always done that, so to do that on the PGA Tour didn't surprise me because I was under the influence the entire time. So I would have 3 and 4 month stretches of I mean, I always worked out. I always practiced. I always worked really, really hard, whether I was high or not. So, but yeah, it was wild. That's why the story is so crazy. Like, Netflix, like people want to adapt this into like because there's never been somebody that had the problems that I had have success on the PGA Tour. Like, that's a fact
Yeah.
other than John Daly, but his was just booze. So allegedly, but it's still just yeah, I can't wait to my story has helped so many people you know keep their perspective right. It's a wild story. I still can't really believe it.
No doubt. Well, Will, first of all, we're glad that you've come that. I know a lot of golfers at every level struggle silently with pressure and identity, maybe even some addiction. Is there
Yeah.
one thing that on your platform you want to tell them directly that maybe can help someone?
Well, I just think just getting to the nitty gritty, getting to the bottom of whatever it is that is affecting you. I mean, the pressure, it's just everybody's not built for that pressure. It is a crazy mind game with yourself when you're making money doing something that you've done every day since you were like 5 years old, and then when that doesn't go well, that is maddening to a point that you can't you're like, I've been working on this for 20 years every day, and this is the result. Like, it's like embarrassing. You feel like such a failure. But yeah, I think it would be where you want to, manage expectations. um let's see, what would be a great way to do it. Get to the bottom of the mental illness part, like, because a lot of people suffer from anxiety, and um it's like, I was just searching for substances to quell all that anxiety and pressure. So just when you go into golf, if you have the ability, that doesn't mean you're going to make it to the PGA Tour. You can be the best ever, but if your head isn't straight, doing the time, working on yourself as much as your golf game, that's a big deal. And identifying if there are problems with you, that you got to get that worked out before you can really give golf a fair shot.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, talking about anxiety, that wasn't a thing yet. You know what I mean? Now everybody has something, which is true. I mean, nobody's perfect. Everybody's weird in their own little way, and um, yeah, it's just when you add professional golf and the PGA Tour to an already sick person mentally, that's a heavy combination.
Hmm.
But it's good now. Now I'm medicated, so, like, now I just take an SSRI, and it stops like the serotonin production in my brain from causing all that anxiety. So that's very important. Finding something that can help you, and it's not Xanax, it's not dopey, but it's amazing now that my anxiety's under control. Like, I don't do that. Like, I don't, but also not playing professionally helps. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
you don't have that pressure to perform to
yeah,
stay out there.
oh yeah,
Was there,
yeah.
like, out of all the rock bottom experiences, was there one, or what was the wake up call for you?
Um, well, the fentanyl thing. The Once fentanyl kind of started coming around, I mean, yeah, I had a multiple times where I was, just passed out, and you come to and you don't know what's going on, and um, yeah, once the drugs got more yeah, dangerous. I'm not an idiot, like, I don't want to die. And so once that stuff got introduced into this, and you just, well, the withdrawals, I mean, my God, the withdrawals, it's just so painful and so terrifying. And, you just can't get any lower when your body's resisting like that. You just cannot get any lower. So yeah, it's always been that experience. Just going through intense withdrawals is just, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Like, it is scary stuff. So that was rock bottom in my van down by the river in Pell City. I had like a camper, and I was just living down there, and I would just not move for days at a time. And yeah, just, yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I really don't. It's hard to even. I mean, I have specific stories, but I don't think those are those are
Yeah.
necessarily for this pod.
I have just one more question. I mean, when you're out on tour,
One
how do
sec,
you
I'm just
find
grabbing
that
water.
stuff? Like, it's not like going down to the corner dealer when you're in a different city every week.
Yeah. Hang on one second. Sorry. Hey. All right, cool. Sorry. Yeah. One more question about that.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Greg.
just like, how do you get your hands on that stuff when you're in a different city every week? It's not like going down to the corner dealer and saying,
Yeah.
hey,
It's a good question. So when I had gotten to the PGA Tour, but I was still hanging around all those sketch balls from Pell City, I would fly people to where I was, and yeah, so I would pay my dealer or whoever it was. They'd get on a plane sometimes. They'd drive sometimes. So yeah, that was the main way I did it. Or I would take hundreds of them. It was normally like lure tabs, and the tour back then would suspend you for pot, but if you took Xanax and hydrocodone by the handfuls, that was okay. So and alcohol was like encouraged. Um, every pro-am was just filled up with booze, but yeah, so people would just fly in. I would like maintain on tournament weeks. I wouldn't necessarily be, and fentanyl hadn't been introduced yet back then. That was still like the Oxycontin era. So when I was on tour, it was still like name brand Oxy, like the Purdue Pharma stuff. Whereas now you could never do that. How bad the stuff is now, you could never maintain a PJ Tour career on that. But you could with Oxy. I mean, like Rush Limbaugh, like he had a hell of a career. He was on Oxy. There's a lot of big names that were on that stuff between 1998 and 2010. You could function at a high level on that stuff, and you could, I had enough money to where I could buy a lot of it. So I mean, I would have hundreds of them.
That's a fascinating story to just.
Yeah, it's wild.
Are you surprised that you're around to tell this story?
I mean, I was always really good at not dying. I know that. So
Obviously.
because like I knew the edge. Like I knew the edge, and I didn't really get up next to it. I mean, I've overdosed. I've had bad batches. I've done all that stuff. I've been to the emergency room for overdoses probably 5 times, starting in like 2000 and I think five. Yeah, 2005 was my first ER visit for, overdosing on like cocaine. And then, I had another one for, crystal meth. And then once the fentanyl gets introduced, I've had to, um, yeah, resuscitate buddies and or whatever, or acquaintances. But, yeah, anyways, I certainly was very, very close to dying a few times, but then I'd wake up. So never had to get Narcaned or anything like that. But yeah, there was a lot of times where I wasn't sure. I thought I was going to die probably 500 times, but I got really what I would consider close, probably like, a handful. But yeah, I wasn't an idiot. I wasn't just, I wouldn't buy, I would buy some new stuff if it looked different. I wouldn't just take as much as I did on the other batch. I would always ease into it, where people that die, they just shove it in there, they just take a lot. And yeah, I had a good ability to not do that. Not that I guess it is a good skill, but it's not something you want to be good at.
Is there one person maybe who you credit with getting you out of it?
Not, I mean, my mom was always a very positive influence, but it was above her pay grade. She was just more just scared, and she was just sitting back like, I don't even know what to do. Um, but my friend in Atlanta, Taylor, they kind of nursed me back to health in my first rehab stint. I did a couple of weeks in Atlanta, but it was outpatient in 2020. One. And yeah, my buddy Taylor in Atlanta, I would say he helped me through it, but he was also mixed up himself on some things. But I mean, it's got to come from within. So I would just say myself. But there were some people that, like, well, Taylor and his wife helped me a lot, but it's got to come from you before you can do anything.
Yeah.
And I went into debt going to rehab, and it caught. Oh man, it's such a disaster. Obviously, our healthcare system in the United States isn't great to begin with. So getting help for things like that is also very hard to do. I mean, you can ruin your financial well-being going to rehab. So
Well, getting back to unless you've got another question, Greg, get kind of
No, go
moving back
ahead.
into some golf. When did you first get on the Korn Ferry?
yeah, 2011. I Mondayed into the Chattanooga event in October of 2010. Ended up missing the cut by one there, and then I got into the Fort Smith. It was at the time nationwide in June. Anyway, so and that was in 2010 actually as well. No, I Mondayed into Chattanooga in '09. But then I got in. Then my third one that I played was the UGA Stadium Classic, and I finished second, and that gets you full status for the year. So it was in May of 2011.
May of
Was
2011. So you had full status in all of 12.
Yeah, I finished the year probably like 17 events in 2011, and then
Yeah.
full status in 12. And then I didn't actually have a great year in 12 because of all my issues. But then I got my card. I locked my card up by like April or May of 2013 for the tour.
what was
So,
it like getting that first check, that second place finish?
Yeah, unbelievable, unbelievable. I mean, it was just I had a great financial backer, and yeah, I lived my life. It was awesome. I mean, I ran through every dime that I ever made, that's for sure. I mean, I spent millions partying and flying friends to X, Y, and Z, and I probably done like four $50,000 plus vacations, and I would fly like everybody I ever met to it. So yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed that part of it, but that's kind of an addiction too. Blowing money, and thank God I have a tour retirement, and that I've been very fortunate in the last couple of years working for Sungjae.
mm.
Yeah,
well,
when you got out of the professional game, what was your plan at that point?
Just to I was gonna give lessons. I was gonna help run the Alabama Junior Golf Association because my dad started that in like maybe 2012 or something like that. Maybe it was earlier than that. Yeah, it was 2007 actually. But yeah, I was just gonna give lessons, run some junior tournaments, see how it went. Like I started my podcast shortly after I ran out of status on the Korn Ferry Tour. Um, hey, can y'all hear that on that end? That was a lot of thunder.
Mm.
Yeah, I was just gonna just kind of. I really didn't know. And I was getting by though. Between the podcast and lessons, and the junior golf thing, I was probably making like maybe 50 grand a year or something.
well, back to your playing days on the Korn Ferry. Did I see where you shot 59?
Yep, yep. And final round of Utah in 20. Actually, I got a really cool keepsake from that round. Yeah, if you shoot 59 or win a major, on
Yeah.
the PGA Tour, the Korn Ferry, they send you this gold. Um, they get sent.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you
Nice.
can read that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's like gold plated putter of the exact putter. Yeah, 2013 Utah Championship final round 59.
Very
Um,
nice.
Pretty cool.
So,
Had you broken
well,
60 before? Any like just goofing off? Shot
Yeah,
59?
yeah, I think so. Now I shot a lot of 60s, 61s. I mean, I've shot in the 50s. Like, I've shot 58. I've shot a lot of low rounds. Like Hooters Tour, I shot a 60. I'll never forget that day when I shot 60. I was two over through four.
Wow.
And
wow.
just went eight.
Where was
But
that?
yeah, it was yeah, I was always a low number shooter, catch fire, but in a tournament, that was a different deal, especially on Sunday.
Where did you where was that on the Hooters tour?
It was in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Oh,
Yeah, Bentonville, Arkansas. That was just a Hooters event. It was cool though, because we had all that Walmart
mm-hmm.
money in the area, so it was a pretty cool tournament.
I
And
bet.
when you shoot 59 in Utah, did you know did you birdie the last hole for 59, or
Yeah, birdied the last two.
did you
Um,
know like did you know going to the last hole you needed birdie for
yeah,
59, or
yeah, yeah. And I'd actually missed like a 3-footer, maybe even shorter than that, on the 16th hole. I hit a shot in a par three, just dart right next to it, and yeah, so that was neat. Played really, and I actually parred a par five that day. Um, but yeah, it was pretty sick. And then, shortly thereafter, I shot a 62 with a hole in one at Boise, at the Boise Open, and then got drug tested after that round and got suspended for like 5 months because of pot. It just never stopped. It never stopped. It was just, it was awful.
do they drug test everybody, or is it random, or once you get on their radar, like do they zone in on you?
There's no heightened testing schedule if you fail. They actually probably scale it back because they don't want to deal with that. Um, but yeah, you get tested once, twice a year, but now pot is okay out there. Um, but again, I was doing it just because it gave me a moment of relief, and it helped me sleep and it helped me eat. I could never sleep. I mean, my anxiety was so bad. Like, I'd get, if I was in contention, I would maybe get 2 hours of sleep, and I wouldn't be able to eat anything before my round. So, if you're in contention on the Korn Ferry or the PGA Tour, normally you're teeing off at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So, I would wake up, I would try to go to bed around 9, get no sleep. I'd pass out from about 11 to 1, and then I would be awake from 1 a.m. to when I teed off, and then I'd have to grind for 5 hours, and I wouldn't eat anything. Like, it was just a nightmare. I mean, that's your heart's racing at like 180 beats a minute. Like, you can't. It's so hard to play well, but you certainly can't maintain playing well when you can't eat. So it was just really hard. Like, I would normally take the week off after I was in contention just because I was so spent. Because I just couldn't. It was nuts. The only thing that would help me eat was pot or alcohol or some kind of substance. It was pretty rough. I mean, that's why I'm so much happier not playing professionally. Although I played good in the New Mexico Open last week, so I might have kind of gotten over the hump a little bit, but yeah, I mean that's one of the craziest parts of it. I mean, everything about my career is insane, but the fact that I couldn't eat or sleep when I was in, like, what a nightmare. Like, ugh.
I'm just thinking of all these guys who have their teams of specialists, and then you're like the anti guy.
Yeah. I was just all alone, just not knowing how to deal with anything. I mean, I would show up to my tee time on the PGA Tour, 25 minutes before we teed off. No, I mean, I played a bunch of tour rounds, having not hit any range balls. I mean, these guys are there 4 hours before they tee off. Their bodies are temples. They're getting stretched by their chiro and seeing their physio, and then they talk to their, mental guy, and their chef cooked them breakfast and lunch, and they're in getting massages, and I was literally just showing up, glassy eyed and red and just looking like no shower, hair all matted, um, just feeling like, just Google my name, Google Will Wilcox Golf, and my pictures on there. I am white as wet cardboard. Like, I literally look clammy and like half dead. It's crazy. Like, all my credentials on the PGA Tour. This one isn't too bad. This was one of the more healthy pictures, and you can't really tell. But I was just in really bad
Yeah.
shape. I don't. That doesn't look too bad, but still very, like, sunken in cheeks, and my eyes were always barely open, and I was just so up.
Well, so one of the things that you're also well known for is a hole in one on the
Yeah,
Island Green at TPC.
yeah, that was pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
Tell
neat.
us about playing in the Players Championship and then obviously making a hole in one on the Island Green.
Yeah, it was, dream come true and, really, really neat. It was kind of like a pinnacle of the career. Like my popularity while playing had, that was it. That like I just remember realizing that's what Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson and Rory and all those guys deal with on a weekly basis. Because, everybody in the crowd wanted me to sign their flag, and I was just bombarded with uh, interviews. I did an interview with Tom Rinaldi. It was really, really cool. But again, like the old problems resurfaced. So like when you get a hole in one, especially one on 17, there's alcohol waiting like in scoring for you basically. And so, and then it says, courtesy of Will Wilcox, all the media members. Have you ever heard that whole
Yeah.
thing? So they'll fill up the fridge, or they'll bring a big white cooler out there. And so I do a Tom Rinaldi interview, and they're shoving beers in my face. And I go to the press center, and everybody's wanting to have one with me and taking pictures with all the press people. And by the time I left the course, I'd had 4 beers. It's probably 6:30 at night. Finished around 6, leave the course for 6:45, 4 beers in, probably have one on the way home, get back, shower beer, then we go to dinner, dinner at probably 8:30 in St. Augustine, and then obviously at dinner, tons of red wine and just, like just having a blast. I'd rented a 6-bedroom house. Everybody from home was down there, friends, girlfriends. I mean, it was just crazy. I just and stayed out till like 2 a.m. that night. Um, and it's just, you know, that's too bad. That's too bad that that's what we did. But yeah, then the next day was like the hardest stroke average I think maybe in tour history. That day, the Saturday of that tour championship, of the players, it was like a 79 average that day. Um, so in my group, nobody broke 80. Yeah, we
Mm.
shot 81, 82, 84 on that Saturday. So
Wow.
yeah, that was a tough day.
Was the pin down front on when you made your hole in one, or
It was back
Back.
left.
back left?
Yeah,
Mhm.
back left. So yeah, and then for the players every year, I get to hit the shot because the caddies hit the shot,
Yeah.
and so this year I hit it to like this, and but then JJ Jakovac, who caddies for or did caddy for Colin Morikawa, the video, it's on my Instagram. Somebody walks in and pats me on the back and says good shot, and then it was their turn to hit, like another caddy, and he makes it with me standing right there. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he won the money. He got 33,000.
That's what the pool
So,
was.
Yeah.
oh wow.
Yeah, so this year it goes up every year. So I mean, at some point it has to stop. But I mean, it'll be 50K in the next few years for the caddy that hits it closest on the practice round.
Are you the best player among the caddies?
I would say so on a consistency day in and day out basis. I mean, Derek Smith, who plays for Denny, is a very good golfer. Manuel Villegas caddies for Siwoo Kim. He's a very good player. That's Camilo's younger brother. Um, Michael Cromie, who caddies for Chris Kirk, is really good. Ted Scott's a pretty good player. The guy that caddies for Eric Van Rooyen is very, very good. Hunter Hamrick, who caddies for
Yeah.
Nick Dunlap, great player. He's defending at the National Invitation Tournament at Country Club Birmingham in about a month. So
Yep.
yeah, there's some really, really good players. And Brian Hughes, who caddies for Ben Coles. Yeah, there's a bunch of good players. But I bet if we played 10 rounds, I probably would be, the best. I'm definitely the most successful person to ever turn professional on the course to go caddying. I know that. Nobody's ever really done what I did,
Well, how did
having
that
played.
opportunity come about with you picking up the bag for Sungjae?
Yeah, that was a really, really cool situation. I mean, I lived in Charleston. I'd probably done about 65 loops at the ocean course at Kiowa. I moved up there. I worked for Lonto Griffin for 5 tournaments, and Lonto got hurt, and then he wanted to go in another direction, so got fired from Lonto's back, and so I moved to Kiowa. Work a bunch of loops, carrying 2 bags, 36 holes, just freaking brutal. And then, but I had caddied for Ben Carr in 2022 in the U.S. Amateur, and he almost won. So he got exempt into the Masters in the U.S. Open. They didn't give me the Masters, which, whatever. I took it like a champ and moved on. Moved to Kiowa, started looping, and so the guy they took to the Masters didn't do a good job. So they were like, will you do the U.S. Open? So I said, yep. And so we go out to LACC, and Sungjae sees me because I got paired with Sungjae back in the day when he was like 19, and fires his caddy like on the spot, um, and hires me. So the exact conversation was actually pretty funny. He goes, Willie, you caddy? I was like, yeah, I caddy. And he goes, you caddy for me? I was like, yep. I was like, I guess so. If that's what I get to do, hell yeah, I'll caddy for you. And so the first tournament that I caddied for him was the first $20 million purse, which was in Connecticut. That was the first like reaction to the live. So I've caddied every single elevated event, which is pretty cool.
That's
Well, he
really
plays a
cool.
lot of events, doesn't he?
Yeah, he played 27 this year. Traditionally, he does. He didn't necessarily play that many, like in the last few years since I've been caddying for him, because he would have played like 33 or 34 normally, but that'll only hurt his world ranking. So he plays like less kind of now. I
Mhm.
mean, once you're top 30 in the world, like you got to plan out your schedule and be smart with it. Like there's no reason to play every tournament because you better do good, or your divisor lowers or raises or whatever. And
Right.
the way they calculate the world rankings, he'll move up events if he skips a tournament. But if he goes and plays a tournament and misses the cut, then he's replacing something on the back end where he'd maybe done well. Anyways, the way
Yeah.
the world rankings works, it's a 2-year cycle. So, he needs to really pick and choose, and which is very like anti-Korean, like they're like, you go dig it out of the dirt, you go play, 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 play. Yeah, he definitely plays a lot more than the average top 30 though.
That yeah, I mean everybody seems to be in that 23, 24, 25 tournament range
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah, even 19 to
I mean,
22. If go through and look through the top 30 in the world, whatever. And if you get time, and it's crazy, like Ludwig played 19. Hovland maybe played 20. Scotty maybe 20. Like all these guys, Colin Morikawa probably played 20. It's amazing now the way they've done that. It did the opposite of what they were hoping it would do. I mean, they've just devalued so many PJ Tour events so much. So, there's just no reason for these guys to play, because again, it'll only hurt. Like
Mhm.
the weaker the field is, if you miss a cut, it hurts your world ranking even more. If he goes and finishes 60th at an elevated event, he probably won't lose very much because how high the divisor is for that week. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I'm super lucky to be involved in those big purses.
absolutely.
I t-
We could probably do a whole hour on just how they do the world rankings because I'm not sure
Yeah,
anybody really understands the ins and
yeah.
outs of it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's strength of field and strength of tournament, and then on the back end, like obviously a tournament that happened 2 years ago on the same week falls off, and you add the new one to it. And it's 2-year schedule, and that's all I really know about it. I just know that when you're in the top 30 or 50 on the PGA Tour now, it's harder now to fall out of that. They want to kind of lock those guys in. Just like the Champions Tour, they just changed that. They just got rid of Q School there. Um, yeah, which is a bummer. Yeah.
You still got how many years till you get on the Champions Tour?
Yeah, I'll be 40 in June, so I mean, I'd just forget. I would love to do that, and I'm really playing well. Honestly, I see myself getting an exemption into something next year, whether it's Korn Ferry or PGA Tour, and I would not be shocked if I made the cut and did okay. I mean, I would have to win or like top three to like actually want to play more of the tournaments, but. I mean, I was 9 under last week or whatever I was, maybe 8, 10, something like that, in the New Mexico Open on a hard golf course. Um, I mean, it's still in there. I'm playing good, and now that I'm like a lot heavier and I've got all this perspective and I'm properly medicated, and golf's just a lot easier now. I never shoot over 70. Yeah.
How how was the transition to caddying? Like you mentioned, you were caddying at Keo and stuff, but then going out on tour as a caddy,
Yeah.
just kind of give us a little insight into that. And there's a ton of pressure on the caddy. I mean, how much freedom do you have with Sungjae? How much dialogue is there when it comes down to shots and that?
I mean, I pick the club. I do a lot. And he grew up on mats indoors, so it's really interesting how he's not good at reading the lie. He's not good at reading the wind. He's not very familiar with, what type of shots you have to play. I mean, he's more of a one-trick pony. He just kind of hits the same shot all day, but I've gotten to where I'll say like 1 yard draw, left center green. I'll say and that'll at least fight that wind just a little bit, because if he just wants to hit that straight ball, it's going to take it. But yeah, I mean, we both step the number off. We agree on what the numbers are. Front, cover, pin. Slopes. Tell them where those are at. Maybe back edge. It'll 142 left, right, wind. We're all meters as well. And then it'll be like it's playing 157, so 1 foot draw there, 157. So there's I mean, we come up with all the shots together. It's I just simply know more about how to read lies than he does, because my reps are way higher. He just, now that he trusts me, if he's playing well, I read pretty much every putt. And if he's playing bad, I don't read anything. Um, because the job is very, very different if he's playing good and playing bad. That is a completely different job. When he's playing bad, you just get out of the way. You just get out of the way and try not to piss him off. But yeah, caddying was a cool transition. I mean, I'm very I'm chock full of perspective, because I've just had so much crap happen in my life that just being on the PGA Tour is so sweet. So like getting treated as well as we do as caddies now, yeah, it's definitely it wasn't too bad. It was cool. I mean, you take a lot of shit, but like as a player, you take shit 24 hours a day because you're so stressed out about your game. But as a caddy, you just take shit in the ropes. So it's not too bad. But
Well,
yeah, it's worth it.
the pay is definitely better than it was back in the day for caddies.
It's like 3x. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I made almost $1 million in 2024, and then this year was about half that. But still unbelievable, unbelievable. Just the
Yeah.
luckiest guy in the world. That's how I got this house. That's for sure.
Tell
Um,
us something about Sanjay that maybe we don't know about that you get to see inside the ropes.
um, let's see. He's not as happy as he looks. But no, I mean, he's the man. I mean, I respect the crap out of him. I love the guy. But let's see. Well, the fact that he grew up on mats indoors in Korea, that's pretty fascinating. That's why his follow through is so pretty, because that's like all they knew how to do was just make it look good.
Hmm.
They have those picturesque follow throughs, all the Korean guys do, because it was more about the aesthetics of it. When you're indoors hitting balls, like,
Yeah.
you're not playing golf. You're just playing golf swing and making it look good. Um, So yeah, he yeah, I mean they pulled him out of school at 7 years old, and yeah,
What are the
right.
conversations like in between shots? Is there much conversation between you
Well,
two?
he doesn't speak really any English, so there really isn't any. There's no relating on a personal level. I mean, you can kind of joke around about stuff, pictures and funny, shit on the internet, but there's pretty much no relating in any way, which is fine. I mean, that's a good gig where you don't have to talk about personal stuff with your boss. Um, a lot of guys have to be their players' therapist. I don't have to do that. Ours is straight business, you know, range 10 a.m., locker room, whatever. Like it's just boom, boom, boom. Like that's it. And when we shook each other's hands after the final round of the tour championship, that was it. He's doing his thing in Korea and I'm doing my whatever I do here. And it's I love the no personal connection thing. The cultures are just too different. Although when I'm gonna do 3 weeks in Asia with him starting October 5th, and we'll go to dinner probably 3 or 4 times in that stretch, which is it's just a lot of smiling and nodding. But it's still badass. Like getting to hang out with him and him and his like team. They'll speak. One of them will speak Japanese, so we'll go to these like hole in the wall Japanese restaurants with the teppanyaki, like the grill in the middle of the table, and then we'll go to Korean barbecue, and they just order all the stuff that like we would obviously not know to order because we can't speak the language, and they won't even serve you in those hole in the wall places if you only speak English. Like they're literally like, we don't feel like dealing with you. Get out of here. So when I'm with them in Asia, like it's so cool just because I just hop in the car with them and we ride to like the most awesome restaurant I've ever been to, and you'd have to like be a local to even know where it is. So it's pretty sweet. Getting to try that the Asian food.
What
That's pretty cool.
what would Will the caddy tell Will the player?
Hmm.
Manage the expectations and get your anxiety under control. And just know that everything's gonna be all right. That was what I would say. I just like, yeah, just try to relax. Because it's just so heavy making money playing golf. Because it's just so hard to do, and you can just one little thing, and you're just going down this crazy rabbit hole, and just keep your ears plugged, work on setup. Everything's gonna be all right, and get your anxiety figured out.
How much did you tinker with your swing, or do you tinker with your swing?
I mean, I just did like setup stuff and like takeaway stuff, and to now I realize that I didn't know what I was doing at all. I just do feels. But golf is very counterintuitive. Like, you're trying to cover the ball and trying to change the path or the attack angle slightly, and you end up doing the opposite. Like, if your brain thinks I'm into out, so I'm draw bias. So I thought, oh, if I hold this hip back and try to cover with my upper body, then I might start hitting cuts, but that actually gets you more underneath. You got to feel like you slide the hip and hang the upper body back if your hips work the way I do. Yeah, it's just, I actually forgot the question.
Just how much you tinker with your
Yeah,
swing?
I mean, just mental, just set up and, I'll mess with like the pressure in my feet and posture and takeaway, and then like feels around impact or at least on the downswing. But it's nothing like I didn't know anything about the game. I was just purely self-taught, other than my mom giving me the fundamentals. So like I never paid a coach. I always just did it on my own. So yeah, you're just all over the canvas. You just go down this street, you go down this street, and then you go all over the place. And next thing you know, you've created all these other problems because you tried to do that. And um, but luckily for quite a few stretches, I was just hitting it so good that nothing that I could do would mess it up. So yeah, it was an interesting ride, and then that's the reason I have the job I have now. So I'm glad I was on the tour. I wouldn't wish it on our worst enemy, um, but no, the tour is a special place. But it's just something like I'm just really glad I did it, but I don't want to do it again because I don't think I have the ability. I mean, maybe I have the ability, but I'm just too old, and that's just too much of a grind. And I'm more of a caddy. I was caddying at Shoal Creek when I was 15 years old. Like, I love caddying because I don't have to think. Caddying is like breathing to me. Golf is like breathing to me. I don't have to think about it at all. It's just purely muscle memory and reaction. I know before he thinks I need X, I need a ball, I need a tee, I need dry towel, I need wet towel, I need a new water. I know what he needs before he knows. So like I've got a bottle right there because I know he's about to turn around and go Willy water. And if he needs teas, I've already got him out. Like I just know watching him and just the sequence of I mean, it's just routine, like I know what the routine is in golf. And when you're a professional athlete, whatever, dot, 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 dot. Like that's how it goes. And it's the same routine over and over and over again. So like that's so subconscious to me. I just bam, you got it. And before he even knows he needs water, I'm like, drink some water. Um so
But you still
Interesting.
have a
We've
competitive itch, right?
hmm?
You still have the competitive itch. You just mentioned you
Oh, for
came back
sure.
from the New Mexico Open.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. But it'll be like my side hustle. It'll be the way I earn a little extra cash or just kind of get to, but I mean, I get that competitive juices flowing with him. So, I'm very lucky to. I mean, he had like an off chance to win the Masters on Sunday last year. So I'm out there just like, what is going on? This is awesome. But I don't have to hit any of the shots, and I don't have to feel those nerves. I just have to know the wind, know the number, know the club, and try not to piss him off. Uh, so that's all you do.
we've had Hunter Hamrick on the pod, and we've had Andrew Medley on the pod.
Nice.
And one of the things they share is kind of some of the stuff that's in the bag. Like, how many balls a day does Sanjay go through?
It depends on how many bogeys he makes. He only switches after a bogey.
Yeah.
So if he shoots the grass off the course, then just one.
Wow.
But he's got three sleeves in the bag and three what he calls putting balls. He's technically got a dozen in for every round. And but if he's making bogey bogey double double, I mean he rose through every ball. I mean, I saw him shooting the 80s a couple times this year. He had the shanks for a spell.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of golf balls then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets 5 to 6 dozen a week. So a lot of those are for signing and giving to kids and stuff. But yeah, he rips through them.
Have you ever had to like go back to one of the balls that he's taken out of play because he's
Because he went through them all.
yeah.
I think I've given him a putting ball before. I mean, but at that point, if he's already through 9 golf balls, he's lost the plot so much that that he give him a rock and he's just as good with it.
He's ready
Explain
to
the
go.
putting ball.
Yeah, he's just so pissed off. Like you don't want to be around that man when he has a bad day. And I don't know what like that hotel room would be like with him and his wife. Like I don't even want to know because he simply doesn't know any better. He just is. He feels like the world's collapsing around him. He can make $2 million one week, and if he shoots 77 in the first round of the next tournament, it's like nothing ever happened before. Like he's so upset he can't even like function. I'm like, you just made $2 million 4 days ago. Like, you're gonna be okay. But
Explain
he's
the Yeah. Explain the
crazy man.
putting ball.
He just takes he plays ones, twos, and threes, but he doesn't play fours, so he just blacks out the number, does a nice bold long line, and that's it. So he just likes to keep everything kind of regimented and in its particular pocket. So the putting ball is just a golf ball with a blacked out number because
Hmm.
he doesn't like to look at the four for whatever reason. So.
Do you have any other quirks?
Yeah, I mean, they're very superstitious. He's got his, Titleist Circle T ball marker, and he has to use that. If he doesn't have that, then he feels like lost. Yeah, I remember one time he pulled a tee out of his pocket to mark his ball, and went on the 18th hole at Scottsdale because of darkness. And when he did that, the marker came out, and then we get into the locker room. It's dark outside, and he realizes he's lost it. And so, my job is to now go in the dark and go out on the golf course and find it with my cell phone light. And he says, we got to call the tour and tell them not to mow the rough right of 18 tomorrow. He said they're not allowed to touch 18 because I've got to find my ball marker in the sun. I'm like, it doesn't work like that, buddy. Like, you can't tell the maintenance staff at 4 a.m. to not go cut that grass because there might be a quarter. And it's his lucky quarter. But I actually went out there and found it with my cell phone light. But, I've just never seen anybody so upset over a coin. Yeah, they're definitely very, he leaves the, like little things from old tournaments. Like he'll have a tee from the Century because he played well there. Oh yeah, he has the same Titleist tees. Anyways, when he has a good tournament, he hangs on to like the score strips from the scorecard and little keepsakes from the last tournament he played well, and they stay in the same little pocket on the course until he has another good event, and then he replaces those with the new events kind of stuff.
That's
Interesting.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
We all have our quirks, I guess, on the golf.
Yeah, their culture is definitely very superstitious.
Chris, you got some more stuff?
Well, yeah, Willie, this time has flown by, and we really appreciate it. I've
No
got
problem.
just a couple of quick hits, if we could, just kind of light, fun, offbeat stuff.
All right.
So, if tour players had a walk-up song like baseball, what would yours be?
Um, that's a good question. I did one in the Corn Fair a few years ago. It was that Little Green Bag. It's the opening song from Reservoir Dogs. George Baker, Little Green Bag. I like that song, but probably an Oasis song. I saw them at the Rose Bowl a few weeks ago, and it's kind of rekindled my love for Oasis. So it would be yeah, an Oasis tune.
Cool. You what's the wildest thing a fan has ever said or done while you're inside the ropes?
I mean, I had like a stalker. She was like this 45-year-old lady, and God bless her. I don't know why she developed this crazy like obsession. But it's not like she was a great looking lady. So I've had some weird stuff. I mean, I've heard racist stuff towards Sungjae. I've heard some pretty awful stuff said to Scotty from the President's Cup last year. But
Mm,
but to me, that stalker lady, she said some wild stuff. I can't quite remember any of it, but I mean that's probably a decent answer to the question.
sure. Best course you ever played?
Um, I would say North Berwick, or I love Lough Ness, but North Berwick in Scotland is pretty special. I've probably played there 8 times at this point. Man, that thing is sweet. Any of those ones on the northeast coast of Scotland, or like central eastern, is so sick. It's called like the Gulf Coast, or what's the actual?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's
I went
beautiful.
there this summer, played.
Yeah, it's just stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got good weather over there too. I've played Gullen 1 and 2. I've played Lough Ness, North Berwick, um, and a couple other ones right there. And I've played all the ones up in St. Andrews. I like Scottish golf though. Like that's where it's at.
Did you play Dunbar? Did you get to Dunbar?
Didn't
Which
play Dunbar. A lot of the guys did though. We were too busy over at North Berwick and Lough Ness and Gullen, but never got to play that one.
Next
Here
time.
it's
Next time.
yeah, yeah. We'll be there in the summer.
What's the best caddy hang on tour?
Let's see. They do these really cool like um caddy hospitality areas for about the company Levelwear does them,
Mm-hmm.
which is a Canadian clothing brand. Those are some pretty cool deals. Let's see. I would say yeah, Ye Old Ale House in North Berwick. That's a cool one. That is really cool. Yeah, because that's a pub from 1790, and it's you're surrounded by like what looks like the hull of a old ship. Just wood everywhere, and I would say the Ye Old Ale House in North Berwick is where a lot of caddies hang out and hoop and holler and trade war stories.
Do you take your clubs when you're out there caddying on tour?
No, no. I mean, if I'm driving and like buying a house in Birmingham was strategic because I can drive to so many tournaments. Um, I'll have them those weeks, which is 12 to 15 events a year. But if I'm out west for 8, 9 weeks, which we are, I just play whatever I can get there. I played wooden clubs once in January. I love just playing whatever they have. Whatever the golf shop has.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good spot to kind of end this up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour and 11 has flown by, Will.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Appreciate you
So
sharing your stories and everything.
no problem. No
Well,
problem
thanks.
at all.
Yeah.
I hope this gets some good views,
Yeah. Well, Willie,
No,
thanks again. We really
no
appreciate it.
problem.
Enjoyed our time.
No problemo at all.
Great. Again, we want to thank Will Wilcox for sharing his incredible story with us. Just, that's edge of your seat stuff, listening to him talk about his journey through golf. And I don't think you can listen to it enough. And we're happy that he shared it and that he's doing well right now.
Yeah, he's doing really well. I want to get him back on. There's still some more stories that we can tell. But also, since we recorded that episode, Will just won a tournament down in Mississippi. So his game is still very sharp and the guy can still play. But I think he's getting ready to do an overseas stint with Sungjae Im on the regular tour and some DP stuff. So thanks
Yep.
again for tuning in this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and catch us again next week for another episode of the Cart Barn Podcast.